Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Hub back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Detroit Pistons potentially trading for Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris spent some time with the Detroit Pistons, was brief, was with them, was acquired by the Pistons in the 2015-16 season, and then played with them for the 2016-17 season, played all 82 games in the 2016-17 season, and played 48 games in the 2017-18 season before the Blake Griffin trade happened to send Griffin to Detroit, and Tobias Harris was sent to the Los Angeles Clippers. So, I think Tobias Harris to go back to Detroit would definitely be an interesting trade. Is it a trade that I think will happen? I sincerely doubt it. With it being very unsure of if or when Joel Embiid will return, I think that the Sixers need Tobias Harris now more than he's ever been needed. I know Tyrese Maxey's gonna be there to step up, but I think his role has risen recently since Joel Embiid has injured, and they will need him and will count on him more than ever with Joel Embiid hurt. Maybe in the playoffs, I think even if Joel Embiid were to not come back from the regular season, if he would miss every single remaining game for the 76ers in the regular season, I still think they'll make the postseason. They might fall a little bit in the standings, but I think they'd probably finish as the 6 or 7 seed if they were to not get Joel back this season. I think if Joel were healthy and this was not a problem, I think maybe you let go of Tobias Harris and send him to Detroit, just because of the fact that if Joel's healthy, this would be a good trade for them. But I think it hurts their playoff chances if the trade that would be suggested were to happen. Keep in mind, Tobias Harris is averaging 17.9 points per game with 6 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game. His field goal percentage this season has been 51.2%. And at most times he has been the third option on the team, but as of recent, he has been the second. He has been the second option on the team with Joel injured. He's been playing pretty well since Joel Embiid has been out of the lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers. But the trade that I have suggested would send Bojan Bogdanovic and Joe Harris, 2 really good three-point shooters, to Philadelphia for Tobias Harris. I think if Philadelphia, if they had Joel, if Joel was healthy, you think about doing this trade just because of the fact that Tobias Harris is an expiring contract, while Bogdanovic would have another year left on his contract. He would be available for Philadelphia in the 2024-25 season. That would be the only reason I think if you're Philadelphia, you would consider the trade. I think Philadelphia would maybe look at some of the Detroit's young assets that they have, and I don't know if these would be. I know here's one thing is I know that Philadelphia has been when talking into Tobias Harris trades, they have been asking for some crazy asking prices. I remember back in the draft, right before the draft happened, they were talking to Cleveland about potentially sending Tobias Harris to Cleveland. And what Philadelphia offered Cleveland was they wanted, in return for Tobias Harris, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and their first-round pick in the 2023 NBA draft, or maybe it was a future first-round pick. They wanted a first-round pick, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen for Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is definitely talented, but he is not worth giving up a young, talented player like Evan Mobley. I would, if I were a GM, I'd happily give up. Actually, with the way he's been playing recently, I don't know if I'd give him up, but I would maybe give up Jared Allen in a first-round pick for Tobias Harris, but there's no way in hell I'd be giving up Evan Mobley and all the other assets for Tobias Harris. So I'm just saying the 76ers in the past with James Harden, I know they gave him up for a price that was, they gave him up for not a lot. Philadelphia just got a bunch of expiring contracts and a bunch of players who weren't going to really help out that much, although Marcus Morris Sr. has been solid for them. But they were outrage. They're what they were looking for some of the superstars they've traded in the past couple years have been outrageous. Their asking prices for Ben Simmons were outrageous. Ended up getting James Harden and other assets for him. When they started with James Harden trade talks, their asking price and what they were wanting was outrageous as well. I know they kind of, settled down a little bit and got a couple players. I think the ultimate package was Marcus Morris Sr., Robert Covington, KJ Martin, and a couple draft picks. But, I would expect, even though he's an expiring contract, I would think Philadelphia is going to want something in return for him that is going to help them. And I know that Daryl Morey in a trade for Tobias Harris will definitely want something good back. And I do know this is that if Daryl Morey goes after any of the young core of Detroit, they are not available. It has been reported that Detroit is not trading anybody like Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, or Osar Thompson. And I don't even think you'd even bring up Cade Cunningham's name. So I think that the Pistons' young guys are off the table in a trade. So I think the three guys that would be available in a trade to get Tobias Harris, I think you're looking at draft picks, even though Detroit could use some draft picks on their own. I think you're looking at Bogdanovich, you're looking at Alec Burks, you're looking at Joe Harris, but I think the offer that Detroit would probably give to Philadelphia for Tobias Harris would be Joe Harris and Bogdanovich. I don't see Detroit offering any more. Maybe a second round pick or two with Harris and Bogdanovich, but that's the most I see Detroit offering Harris, a guy who's an expiring contract and will be a free agent. If you're wondering why would Detroit go after a guy who's going into free agency, how does that make sense? I think maybe one of the reasons is to get him now, and you'll have a better chance of re-signing him in the summer. That would be one of my guesses, but I think it'll be intriguing to see if the 76ers are willing to let go of Tobias Harris, and if they are, who makes a move for him. Honestly, would like to see him on a contender, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on the potential trade in the comment section, and peace out.